if it wasn't discrimination. And you have the nerve, you have the nerve to sit there on your high horse and preach to these bottom-feeding dwellers who sit in the chat room, like Alliance Blog, who's been doing this for over a decade and still only got 2,000 followers. Yeah, I see you, you're a jabroni and a ham sandwich, and I don't want to hear from you ever again. About what the NWA is supposed to do. This is what pro wrestling is supposed to be. This is what the NWA is supposed to be. No. You don't tell anyone what the NWA is supposed to be, and you certainly don't lecture me about what the NWA is supposed to be. I made the NWA.
Why are you excited to be here tonight?
Because I'm just excited.
Explanation. Now, I do believe, tell me the truth, is it true that your dad has a ringside seat but didn't get you guys ringside seats?
That is true, but it's because of his YouTube channel, okay? It's his YouTube, okay?
Her dad's an influencer. Let him go, guys. But your dad's awesome, right?
Yeah.
See, he's awesome. Give it up for Claire. Thank you so much, Claire. High five. Yeah.
Mi gente, you already know who it is. It's the radioactive Papa Danny Limelight, United Wrestling Network World Heavyweight Champion. And make sure you tune into the Alliance blog every week. You heard it here first. Straight from Papa.
Here's the story now. If I see Kevin Owens, or even someone who looks like Kevin Owens, I drop them on sight.
Welcome.
It's party time!
So, what day is it today?
Tuesday?
Wrong. It's NWA Day.
They want NWA? Let's give them NWA.
I was thinking that it might be a good idea if you and I formed an alliance.
Let's get ready to rumble!
Attention, everyone. Welcome to the greatest wrestling program in the world.
Ladies and gentlemen, can I please have your attention? Stop what you're doing and listen.
Okay, let's party. It's the pre-party with J. Cal.
What is up, everybody? This is the pre-party, a presentation of Alliance-Wrestling.com. That's your number one source for news and information for the National Wrestling Alliance. My name is J. Cal, and each and every Tuesday I come to you, my hashtag NWA fam, to talk all things NWA. And it's been a great day, man. This Tuesday has been such a fun day. I just spent the last hour with my pal Soto619 over on TikTok. Now, we were live here on YouTube as well, but, it's kind of hard to do that in an efficient way, connecting all the bases. We could do it now because we're doing the pre-party, but we were live for a little bit. I want to say what's up to my friends and family over on the TikTok. Lily said Kevin Owens making me crash out. Oh! And we've got Dog Pro Wrestling saying it's the pre-party. Hey, the good folks over at Dog, again, thanks for allowing Jaden to hang out with us on Thursday nights. Double D's here in the chat saying J. Cal in the black shirt. Yeah, man, we're wearing the old school NWA fam. Props to Will Martin and the fellas for making that one go off. Dodie says this week's hottest topic is Talos tour over in All Japan Pro Wrestling. Yeah, man, that one was kind of surprising. That caught me off guard, but that's awesome for Talos. Very excited for those opportunities when they come up. Very interesting to see All Japan Pro Wrestling kind of working with the NWA. I mean, it wasn't that long ago we saw our boy EC3 defend the 10 pounds of gold in All Japan Pro Wrestling. Now you've got Talos over there in All Japan Pro Wrestling. That is very, very cool. Very, very interesting. And I'm very excited about that. On top of that, it's a weird world in wrestling again. Like the WWE has been you know, we knew that things were going to change when TKO bought the WWE, and that has set some things in motion. Now, one of the first things that we saw that we hadn't seen in a very long time is that talent from the WWE has been able to appear in different wrestling promotions. We saw Natty Neidhart appear in the NWA with the Crockett Cup, with her challenging Kenzie Page for the Women's Championship. We saw up until recently, talents like Shayna Baszler, Natty Neidhart, Charlie Dempsey all appear for the WrestleMania weekend, Josh Barnett's Bloodsport. So we're seeing a change in the way that the WWE does business that is positively impacting the community around it. However, another change in the business could potentially be good things for the independent companies surrounding it. It's being reported, the WWE has not renewed several contracts, and the most recent being Carlito and Ron the Truth Killings, as well as Valhalla. And that's interesting for NWA fans. It should be anyways, because there's a direct correlation to obviously Ron Killings and the NWA. He's a former two-time NWA World's Heavyweight Champion, the first African-American professional wrestler to hold the NWA World's Heavyweight Championship as part of TNA Wrestling. That is historic. That is monumental. That is a very interesting reason to consider maybe bringing our Killings, our Truth, the Truth, Ron Killings, K-Quick, whatever you want to call him, bringing him back to the NWA might make a lot of sense. We recently saw the Crockett Cup. I almost said 77th anniversary show. Recently at the Crockett Cup, we saw Rhino, a former world champion in his own right, return to the NWA to challenge for that 10 pounds of gold. A former TNA Wrestling NWA World Champion challenge for the 10 pounds of gold. We have had zero build for 77, right? And I was at Crockett Cup, and I could tell you this with all certainty, that there was no one coming out to challenge Tom Latimer at the conclusion of that triple threat match, meaning that the sky's the limit. If our Truth, Ron Killings, K-Quick, whatever you want to call him, is in fact a free agent as of next week, then that means he could show up in Tampa. I'm not going to hold my breath, guys. I promise you, I'm not going to hold my breath on this one, but how excited would you be if Ron Killings showed up in Tampa to lay out a challenge against Tom Latimer? Bonus points if he accidentally calls him Nick Aldis. Am I wrong? Someone in my chat, tell me I'm crazy here. Wouldn't that be off the hook? Do kids still say that, off the hook? I think that would be amazing. And the thing about Ron Killings is, I don't know what his relationship is with Billy Corgan. I don't know who he has friends with in the NWA locker room. But I mean, obviously there are a lot of fans who have been saddened by the release of Ron Killings from the WWE. And I think it's going to make a huge impact wherever he lands, not because he's the world's greatest wrestler, but because of the value he brings. And he's not the only one. I mean, there's other people that this could be applied to as well. I mean, we talk about Carlitos. I spit in the face of people who don't want to be cool. You have to remember, Carlitos in the past has had connections to the NWA. Hell, his family, La Familia de Colons, were at Crockett Cup. They were in the finals of the Crockett Cup. Epico and Primo. So, with this, this relationship with World Wrestling Council and the NWA, considering that the Colons have been appearing on both programs, right? Let's not forget La Rosa Negra is currently the WWC Women's Champion. I mean, there's a direct correlation to Puerto Rico in the NWA. Heck, I mean, even our very own NWA World Television Champion, Brian Idol, at one point, I don't know if he still is, and I'm going to have to look it up right now. He was the IWA, or no, excuse me. Now I forgot. Was he IWA or was he WWC? Well, now I have to look it up, so excuse me. We'll look that up right now. And mi curio. Let's see. He was the World Wrestling Council television champion for 70 days. He lost the title to Jovan, but defended it against Anthony Katina and NWA Chicago. He defended against Mike Orlando in Florida. He defeated Jovan to win the title. He defeated Jovan through a count out. So it is very possible that there is a relationship with WWC. Now, Chris Drummond, you beat me to it. He's no longer TV champion. Well, that's fine. He is the NWA TV champion. And when he was the WWC TV champion, Tom Latimer had made appearances for them when he was the NWA TV champion. There is a correlation that works here. And I'm not going to bet against it. I'm not saying that it's going to happen. But, unlike our friend Big Chris Dog, I would like to see either one of those guys show up. Soto says, wherever Ron shows up, I need him to think it's Monday Night Raw. That would be amazing. That would be hilarious. Real quick, I neglected you guys when we started the show, so let me give the shout-outs to everybody here in the chat. First and foremost, Willie Bone with your Tires joke of the week. Never say food for thought in front of tires. That was pretty good, Willie. Double D, yeah, I switched shirts. I'm wearing the NWA fan shirt. Soto noticed that too. Soto, I did that while we were live on TikTok. I just stepped out of the camera view. Bobby Batito's in the house. What's up, Bobby? Noob is here. What's going on, Noob? Thanks for the likes, Bobby. Rosville's in the house. That's my guy right there. Alliance Late Night. Make sure you subscribe to his channel. He's part of our co-conspirators on the Alliance blog YouTube channel, which, by the way, yesterday celebrated 7 years of being live on YouTube, which is pretty cool. It started off as I didn't know which direction to take this channel. I didn't know that I would be live streaming, and we used to upload videos of the podcast. And in 2018 we decided to start going live right here. Excuse me, 2019. Gosh, started going live on YouTube every Tuesday before Power. And here it is. 7 years later, we're still going live every Tuesday. And that's pretty wild, if you ask me. Jammin' Music Man's here. What is up, Jammin' Music Man? Bobby Batito says, what if someone appears on Maple Leaf Pro Wrestling on July 5th to challenge Tom Latimer for the 10 pounds of gold? Bobby, that's a real possibility. However, so far, what Maple Leaf Pro Wrestling has booked has not changed or influenced the booking of Billy Corgan and his NWA. So as much as I would love to see it, I'm not going to hold my breath for that. It seems like Scott D'Amore has his vision, and as long as it doesn't interfere with Billy Corgan's vision, it's going to be treated as two separate things where, of course, both sides will acknowledge the other, but I don't think, Billy Corgan's writing notes to Scott and saying, hey, this is who I want to see, this is who I'll allow him to face, and that sort of thing. Jammin' Music Man says that would be awesome to see R-Truth at the NWA 77. If R-Truth is announced for 77, I got to find a way to get there. Maybe my wife will bless me with the opportunity to go. I would have to probably get 1,000 likes on Instagram again. Thanks for that, by the way, guys. You did not come through for me, and I'm still holding you all accountable for that. David Valentine with his fake breaking news. The NWA will unveil a new heavyweight championship at the anniversary show with a purple and gold design and 18 pounds of gold. That literally makes me want to vomit, Dave. Just so you know, there's only one NWA World's Heavyweight Championship, and it's this guy right here. If you can't see it on TikTok, I apologize in advance, but we have the most beautiful title right here. Oh, Ringside Riley just called me Kevin Owens on TikTok, so excuse me, I have to crash out. Because anytime someone calls me Kevin Owens on TikTok, that's what I have to do. Russell Rant says, well, Billy needs to return my emails. Russell Rant, that would be amazing, and I would love to see it. You should probably write a strongly worded letter to him. Let's see. Double D says he just subscribed to the Alliance Late Night. That's awesome, man. That's what we're doing here. This is a community. You know, it's not just J Cal's live streaming thoughts on the NWA. We're trying to build community here, like-minded wrestling fans talking about the NWA and wrestling in general, and building up a community, making it a safe place to express your views and opinions and talking wrestling. There's not enough places like that, so that's all I'm going to say about that. Soto didn't notice that I had changed his shirt. Devin Dowling says Pac-Man Jones was talking about R-Truth on his sports show today, former TNA tag team champions. That is right, and I remember that, and that was the worst tag team I'd ever seen. But props to R-Truth for putting in the double time on that tag team. Dodie says Mercurio. Oh, long time not heard of him. Yeah, sorry about that. Bobby says, what if a current WWE wrestler were to step up against Tom Latimer? Bobby referenced earlier on the YouTube stream earlier today about Chad Gable coming in to challenge for the 10 pounds of gold. Now, I'm not going to hold my breath for that. Chad Gable's a very busy man right now for the WWE, but there is very few wrestlers that I would like to see from the WWE come challenge for that title more than Chad Gable. That dude is awesome, and it'd be funny if he fun if he showed up. Chris Strowman says, how about Braun Strowman versus Latimer? The fact of the matter that Braun Strowman previously was in a relationship with Kaylee Farmer, a.k.a. Camille, would make it very weird for me to see them fight in the ring, let alone I've heard rumors that Braun Strowman can't even go right now, that he's got some sort of a very rough leg injury and he's been unable to perform. It's a shame. Like, look, WWE knows how to use big giant wrestlers. I mean, The Undertaker, can anyone remember that guy? Andre the Giant. I mean, look, these guys, the WWE knows how to market. They know how to move these guys. They know how to put them in positions to succeed. WWE could never get Braun Strowman over. I don't think the NWA could either. However, let's not forget that EC3 and Braun Strowman go back to the CYN movement, and I would not be surprised if Strowman ended up at Exodus Pro or the NWA at some point, especially if he was in a match with PB Smooth. Two big guys, that's for sure. Oh, yeah, I just said that, Chris. I didn't see your comment, but yeah, we're right there. Sean Mega says R-Truth versus EC3 is a bigger match. That's interesting. That's very interesting. Why do you think that, Sean? If you haven't left, if you're still here in the chat, reply. I'd love to know why you think that. David, you're just perpetuating hate, man, because I hate everything that you're typing. No, we're not going to make the 10 pounds of gold purple, green, and gold. What happened, David? What happened to you today? These are terrible ideas. Who hurt you? Soto says you could take her to the show as her birthday gift. My wife is not interested in going to a wrestling show for her birthday, period. If she was, we'd go to the historic Hemet Theater, which is about 15 minutes away, and go see my pal Mecha Wolf in the ring. But because it's not going to happen, my wife does not want to go to see the NWA anniversary show. I mean, it would have to be like somewhere amazing, like London or Scotland. Edinburgh, can you hear me? Get on the phone. As a shout out to my pals over on TikTok, could you guys do me a solid and follow my friend Dog Pro Wrestling? That's DAGG Pro Wrestling. He is a friend of the show. He's one of my best friends in the show, and definitely could. He's going to be putting out a lot of good wrestling content on his channel. And then Digging for Treasure said, "Good afternoon, Jay, aka KO." Oh, crashing out. I apologize to my regular viewing audience. They have no idea what I'm talking about, but it's funny. Also, Ramon Cathy 27 said, "Bro, are you mad about R-Truth getting fired?" I'm not mad. I hope something positive comes from it. I hope he's able to maximize those opportunities. Let's put all the cards on the table, right? R-Truth isn't going to be sitting at home for very long. He could go in multiple directions, whether it be in the music industry. He could go back to creating more music, which he did. He still does pretty regularly, right? He could go and just take regular independent dates. I mean, may have had conversations about potentially seeing him in Southern California areas. There's opportunities for him to work almost anywhere. And if you ask most promoters out there, they see value in Ron Killings. It's not that he was bad. It's just that I don't think the WWE really knew what to do with him at this point. And I still think that might have been a mistake as well, right? I still think that might have been a mistake. But at the end of the day, TKO is not Capital Sports. It is not the WWE. It's not Vince McMahon's WWE. It is an entirely new animal, right? So we are going to see the WWE treated in different ways. I mean, we're seeing it with the wrestling mats. We're seeing it with the tables are going to have advertising on them. Like, it is a different creature, and that's okay. It's not supposed to be the same as it ever was. So we'll just have to kind of wait and see what's next for them. Double D said the Battle of Camille. That's awful. That's terrible. Shogain says, "Hi all. I think I've been listening to this podcast more frequently than watching Power nowadays." He said, "You are not the only one." And that is more of a testament to how bad the NWA has become as opposed to how good we are over here. But I'll take it as a compliment all the same. Rosville said, "The new NWA World's Heavyweight Championship belt is going to be fire." That's David Valentine. The colors purple, green, and gold. It was supposed to look similar to the old AWA World title. That's called fake breaking news with David Valentine. And maybe David's brain's just burned out after watching AAA. Maybe, Tony. Maybe. Those sunsets, I mean, they really do get to you. I've heard that. Sean Mega wanted me to tell Dangerous Adrenaline Wrestling Gladiators, his words, not mine, to make show playlists. I think what you mean is a match playlist for each event. And I think that'd be a wise idea for, Dr. Lawrence Zirconium or Jaden or whoever works on the YouTube stuff over there. Digging for Treasure says, "I just learned that from Soto's live yesterday." Yeah, my boy Soto 619 on TikTok. If you guys, he's also on YouTube. Make sure you give him a follow. Also part of the consortium of the co-conspirators here on YouTube. If you are into WWE content, Soto's your guy, man. He recaps the shows every single Monday and Friday, gives you a very crisp, clean recap that makes it very easy to stay up to date with the WWE, even if you're not watching it. And they do watch along on TikTok, so I think you should follow him. This guy right here, give this guy a follow. That's my guy, Soto. We go to Lucha Libre events together. Roswell says, "I know, David. That color scheme isn't jumping out at me. Sounds like Juggalo stuff." Juggalo stuff. No. Let's see. Yeah. Which female WWE female wrestler would you like to see challenge for the World's Women's Championship next? Oh man, Nikita Lyons. They're I really don't have a good answer. I would, or Ren Sinclair. That's who I want, is Ren Sinclair, formerly known as Maddie Renkowski in the NWA. That would be very interesting if they were to make that work. I'm not holding my breath for it, but that'd be weird. It'd be funny. That's where I'm going with. TKO is not McMahon's WWE, but the mass layoff still goes on. Yeah, because it's different. It is different, but it's the same, because at the end of the day, this is still a corporation. And corporation values profits over loyalty. And that's just true of any business. Every single business. I'm a baseball fan. You guys, I think, know that. There was a pitcher who used to play for the Seattle Mariners named Randy Johnson. And he came into a contract year with with the Mariners, and they opted to let him go to free agency, where he signed with the Arizona Diamondbacks and brought that franchise the first World Series ring it ever had, and threw a couple no-hitters along the way. Randy Johnson was an amazing talent. He never should have been released from the Mariners, never should have been able to be signed anywhere else. But at the end of the day, it's dollars and cents. And if it doesn't make dollars, it doesn't make sense. I think that it would be, I think it was a poor, calculated judgment to release R-Truth. But that's TKO, and that's what they're going to do. You have to think of it this way, and I mentioned this to Soto earlier when we were on TikTok, that the WWE now has a farm system for its farm system, for its farm system, for that farm system. You have the ID talents. We've seen them. Jordan Oasis, Ice Williams, Kylie Ray, Zeta Stone, Jack Cartwright. All those folks are on the WWE payroll. They're in the developmental system, way down low. Then you've got LFG, Legends and Future Greats, and Evolve. Again, these are more talented wrestlers who are on WWE's payroll. And then from there, you get to NXT, which, again, those talents, and, more or less TNA because it's adjacency to NXT. We're seeing TNA and NXT wrestlers against AAA coming up on this Saturday on YouTube when Worlds Collide. So there's a lot of stuff that's happening, and talent eventually is just going to get these opportunities to grow. But at the same time, that means talent is going to be easily dismissed. There's talk that The Miz is about to walk away. There's talk that there's speculation that Gunther, because he removed all WWE marketing off of his X page, he might be next. I'm not counting on that, but you just have to kind of wait and see. This machine that is the TKO is going to radicalize the wrestling in this country, and it's going to change, maybe for the better, maybe for the worse. Tony Khan has a different opponent now. It's not Vince McMahon. It's not Triple H. It's TKO. That also means that there's opportunity for other people to step up. We'll have to wait and see. I mean, hey, Billy, we're all waiting on you to do something. Give me a stick to poke Billy with. Come on, we're waiting on you to do something. I want to see Shayna Baszler challenging Kenzie Page, is what Dodie had said. Initial Dodie. That's the old message board name. Shayna's a beast, and I think she'd give Kenzie all she can handle and then some. Congratulations to AEW and New Japan wrestler Konosuke Takashita. I'm not good with pronouncing Japanese names. Just ask Kakushi. He knows better than anyone. And Yuka Sakazaki on their announced marriage. Well, that's great, man. I'm all about love. Let's go. Jay does watch-alongs with me from time to time on TikTok too. Yeah, last night I hung out with Soto for most of Raw. It was fun. We had a good time. More Fenier on Power. Yeah, he made his debut a few weeks ago. He'll have his second match on these matches. The cool thing about I guess it's time to talk about Power. We're about half an hour in. We'll get to that in a minute. But yeah, Matt, we'll talk about Power in just a second. Lola Vice should fight Kenzie Page. Imagine that confrontation. I mean, look, I think Kenzie Page is on borrowed time, to be honest. I think it won't be long before we see her end up somewhere else, perhaps maybe NXT. And imagine if Natty's out there just scouting talent for the WWE right now. We'll see. Bobby says, I'd like to see WWE ID talent I'd like to see WWE ID talent Zeta Steel or NXT wrestler Fallon Henley go against Kenzie Page. I think both of those would be quite interesting. I'm game for both of them. Sean Megan says, wrestling fans don't know how to move on. That's kind of brutal, Sean. I mean, you're not wrong, right? But it's kind of brutal. But, we don't want to move on, right? We develop these relationships. We develop these attachments. We fall in love with these wrestlers, and then through no fault of their own, they're taken from us. And that's kind of sad, like I'll be honest, I was in high school when Owen Hart passed on from wrestling, and I was devastated. Owen Hart was one of my favorite wrestlers, and it was hard, but it is what it is. And sorry, I got something important here to handle real quick. So yeah, it's that's the business, and unfortunately, that's just how it goes sometimes. Fads on TikTok just said it's Kevin Owens crashing out. Apologies to the YouTube audience. This is what gets me over on TikTok, and it's kind of working. So I gotta at least give it some more time. Thanks for the follows on TikTok, digging for treasures, and Déjà also followed me over there. Thank you, and thank you to the Real Hardcore Holly for sending the hearts. Thank you, appreciate that. Let's see. Josh Banberg says, I feel like we're approaching the dark days with the WWE, with TKO. Something has to change. I mean, I think what it is just this is what wrestling is now. This is what WWE is now. And if you're not happy with the corporate version of what we're getting now, I mean, there's a lot of other options out there. There's Major League Wrestling, there's the National Wrestling Alliance, there's United Wrestling Network, there's AEW, New Japan Strong. There are a lot of wrestling promotions out there. If you do not want to support the WWE, by no imagination do you have to. But they are growing. They acquired AAA. They're working with TNA. I would be shocked if they acquire Pro Wrestling Noah before the end of the year. I think this is just what it is, and this is how it's going to be. Overmetal says they are wasting Natty on Raw. Her gimmick is so far from what she was doing on the Indies. She was wearing a pink dress last night. She should be going for a mid-card belt. I think if Billy, look, I get where Billy Corgan, William Patrick Corgan, president of the National Wrestling Alliance, had an opportunity handed to him to get Natty Neidhart in an NWA ring for one event. I would have pushed for 3. I would have pushed for her to wrestle at the Crockett Cup and win the NWA Women's World Championship. The Burke is what we call it here on this side of the fence. And having been able to take the Burke to Monday Night Raw, to Saturday night's main event, to LFG, to NXT, to Evolve Anywhere would have been great for the NWA. You could have had her defend the title and maybe do a tag team match at the TV tapings. Could you imagine Natalia Markova and Natty Neidhart against the Page sisters? And then who knows? Maybe Natalia turns on Natty, and at 77 you have Natalia take the belt off of Natty. I mean, I feel like it kind of writes itself, but that's just me. Kikuchi says Charlotte for the Burke. That would be outstanding. I mean, it's not going to happen, right? Like, let's be honest. That's not on the table. But how cool would that be? Again, if the WWE wanted to make the NWA a developmental system, then things could be different and everything would be on the table. But until that happens, I don't think that's going to happen. David Valentine says, I would love for Tessa Blanchard to join the NWA. Joe Kazana Promotions. So you want Tessa just to join Joe Kazana Promotions? David, Joe Kazana is doing a really good job in Tennessee, but why not have Tessa on Power if you have Tessa? That's like Richard Holiday only appearing for Exodus Pro, which they did do that, but that never made any sense to me either. Noob says, I'd like to see some NXT tag teams to take the NWA tag team titles. Talk about the women's titles? Because I don't think there's anyone in NXT that could beat Cade and Murdoch. I said Cade and Murdoch. Wow. Knox and Murdoch. Oof. Rest in peace, Lance Cade. King Sean Vega says, no Kevin Owens jokes for me. Appreciate you hanging out, King Sean Vega. Dog Pro Wrestling says, I call Jay Kevin No Wins. Josh Banberg says maybe if WWE started doing house shows again, it would make going to PLEs more affordable. Yeah, I just don't think that's their business model anymore. I don't think they care about you going to their live events. I think they'd rather maximize every dollar that they can at these events. The TV is paying for itself. I mean, they deal with Netflix, they deal with USA, Peacock, and they deal with CW. I mean, they're making money hand over fist, and it's not about the little guys anymore. Finn does WWE. Opinions on R-Truth getting released. I hate that Ron Killings is no longer on Monday nights, or excuse me, not Monday nights, but on WWE programming. I think he was an absolute gem. I think he was underutilized by the WWE. I can't wait to see what's next for Ron Killings. We mentioned it earlier in the show. A lot of people are speculating TNA. Personally, I think going a more independent route and coming to the NWA would be amazing, and that's what I'm hoping for. Double D says, personally, I like both the Henry sisters, but I think Kylie's got the greater upside. Kylie and Kenzie in NXT would be great for them. We've seen how Camille was handled in AEW. Yeah, what can we say about Camille? We haven't seen Camille on TV in, it's getting close to a year now, I think, and it's a shame because she was very good for the NWA. I'm not saying she's the greatest wrestler on the planet, but I mean, look what AEW's doing with Thunder Rosa. She was injured. They took the belt off of her, and what has changed with Thunder Rosa in the ring? Not a whole lot. She's not bad. She's never been bad. And the same thing can be said for Camille. Maybe Camille's not the work rate wrestler that Mercedes Moné is, but she's not bad. And the fact that she hasn't been seen on TV in such a long time, it's just, if I'm an AEW fan, I'm kind of pissed. Noob says, I'd like to see Natty and Ironheart take the women's title and then feud with Markova. Yeah, that's kind of what I was pointing at earlier. But I see, the thing is, you're not going to get long-term with outsider talent. And that being said, like, the NWA isn't in a position where it's signing big-name free agents, right? They're using them as one-offs when they can, or the opportunities that they get, they're taking advantage of them. But again, I don't hold my breath for that. Noob says Charlotte Flair for the Burke would be pure nightmare fuel. Okay, wait. Noob. Charlotte takes the Burke off of Kenzie. Markova takes the belt off of Charlotte. There it is. It's all prepackaged for you right there. Double D, if Thunder Rosa were available, again, hell yeah, the NWA should look at her. But at the same time, like, I feel like she's grown beyond the NWA at this point. It's the same thing like if we talk about Camille. If Camille all of a sudden was out of her contract, would her coming back to the NWA be, like, important? Like, honestly, if Thunder Rosa were released tomorrow, she'd be someone that the WWE should pick up to send to AAA. And I know it's like, well, wait, that might be below her. But no, send her to AAA. Let her be the queen of the AAA. Let her be La Reina del Rey and win the Reina del Rey and win the women's championship and make a name for the women there, so that when she does inevitably get an opportunity in the WWE, she'd kill it. Finn says, I just think Triple H and TKO screwed R-Truth and everything he's done for the business, and the fact that there's no one in the WWE locker room that hates R-Truth, and he was probably one of the top guys. Yeah, Finn, let's not beat around the bush. Killings was great, man, and I don't have a negative thing to say about him. He took a legitimate mistake and made it into a gimmick for 15 years. That's incredible. He's the first African-American NWA World Heavyweight Champion, not once, but twice. I could never say anything bad about R-Truth, and I feel like he should still be a part of that WWE locker room. But at the same time, that machine is now changed, and you're going to see guys leave before There's an old saying that says, walk away before you're asked to leave. And in wrestling, it has always been, hang on till you can't anymore. I feel like at this point in the game, they're going to start letting guys go before they're unable to go anymore. And you might be sad about that, but it also means that there's opportunities for them to go elsewhere too. I'm flipping back and forth between TikTok and YouTube. So I apologize, guys, if I sound a little disoriented, but we're trying to grow on both content on both platforms right now. So back on TikTok, Broski says, Kevin Owens, I'm back. I'm doing it for the fans, guys. I'm doing it for them. Mitt says, fight, Jay, fight. No! Crashing out, Kevin Owens style. King Shawn Vegas says, Tony like to hold talent hostage. Camille would be valuable to NWA again. See, and I'm not sure about that. I don't know how I feel about Camille coming back to the NWA. If it was an option, I mean, at the very least, there should be a conversation about it, but maybe it's time for her to just move on to something else, a different promotion, different platform. I don't know. Ringside Riley says, what's up, bro? How's that injury recovery? Well, I still haven't had the surgery yet. I mean, Kevin Owens hasn't had the surgery yet. So, all right, back to NWA talk. Alliance Gold. Our pal Timmy Thunder says, Dave Dahl is my favorite athlete. Now I know you're lying, Tim, because nobody says Dave Dahl's their favorite anything. Finn says that R-Truth was the greatest 24/7 champion of all time. I'll take that. Double D says, Paola lost her WOW title match the other night, but I just looked on Cage Match. That match was recorded in August of 2024. Yeah, they film for like a week and a half straight, and then that's their entire season, which is good and bad. It's good because they can film it all very quickly. The problem is what happens if someone gets hurt. I mean, we're seeing this with the NWA right now. Unfortunately, Jack Stane passed away, and that sucked really bad because Jax was a great guy. Everyone loved Jax, but one of the questions is like, well, what if they had gone somewhere with Jax? Maybe they put him into a title picture or elevated him in some way, and then he passed away. It just things could happen in pro wrestling. Injuries, contract negotiations, somebody just retiring from the business. And when you record content so far in advance, things could definitely go awry. It's worked for a while so far, and I think they'll keep doing what they're doing. Shawn Vegas says, Killian was there for a long time. The WWE doesn't owe him anything. They gave him a lot. And I don't disagree with that either. I don't disagree. It's not like he was working for free. It's not like he did anything without being compensated for it. It is what it is. It is what it is. Killings was a great talent. Killings was compensated as a top talent. They were not able to come to terms on the next contract, whether that be the WWE just said, no, we're not interested, or Ron not wanting to take a pay cut. Like, we won't know that conversation. That is information that will not be leaked to the public. At least I don't think it will be. But with that being said, it is what it is. And we just, we personally, I hope everything positive happens for Ron Killings post his WWE career. I hope he comes to the NWA and wins the world title for a third time. I hope MLW wants to use him. I hope AEW decides to put him and Goldust back together and win the ROH tag team titles. Whatever they want to do with Ron Truth, whatever he wants to do in the business, I hope he gets those opportunities. At 53 years of age, his in-ring career isn't going to last that much longer. And we'll see what happens. Devin Dowling says the same week Killings was hired, the WWE introduced high-definition recording, and Brandon Walker was hired. Remember him? Braden Walker. Yeah. Cowboy Braden Walker. A Wildcat Braden Walker. Bobby Matito's bringing us back. Bringing it back to Power. I'm looking forward to watching Crazy Steve in action tonight and NWA Power and Mims too. Let's talk about that. We spent a lot of time on the WWE for a pre-NWA show. This is your unofficial NWA pre-show for Power. And we have some exciting matches that are coming to you tonight. Obviously, Crazy Steve. You guys might remember him from his time in TNA Wrestling. He takes on Damien Fenier. I think I'm pronouncing that correctly. Damien Fenier out of, oddly enough, out of Brian Idol's FTW. We saw him a few weeks ago. Very talented kid. He was I believe he teamed up with Dante Casanova. And I liked him a lot. And I want to see more from him. Crazy Steve. We saw Crazy Steve as part of Crockett Cup. And I'm sure that there'll be some these matches that were taped for Hard Times, Daddy. Hard Times. These matches were taped back in March. And if I come here to our to our studio here, I think we still have pictures of the posters, right? Like if we go back to Hard Times, Daddy, Hard Times, we know. Back in March 22nd, some of the matches that from Hard Times that we'll be watching tonight. Daddy, Damien Fenrir versus Crazy Steve in a singles match. Daddy, it's Hard Times. The other matchup that we're going to see that's scheduled is the NWA National Championship match. Mims with Black G's in his corner taking on Wrecking Ball Legursky. Now, this was the start of this babyface turn that we're seeing for Wrecking Ball Legursky. Mims, obviously national champion. We haven't seen a whole lot out of Mims lately. I mean, the last time Crockett Cup, we saw Mims take on the non-binary nightmare Maxime Haler. So we're going to see Mims take on Wrecking Ball Legursky, and that is a huge disadvantage for Mims, right? Mims is usually the big guy in the ring. When he steps in the ring with Wrecking Ball Legursky, I mean, all bets are off. And Legursky has kind of transitioned into a singles wrestler. I mean, we know at the Crockett Cup, him and the former tag team partner Jay Bradley end up feuding in a steel chain match. So we're excited to see what happens with him. Real quick, shout out to Brian Cervantes. Love that dude. Happy to see you, Brian. Thanks for stopping in for a minute. Brian Cervantes, promoter for Mission Pro Wrestling, that's been on hiatus. We don't know what the future holds for that, but wishing you guys nothing but luck down there in Texas. And he says, time to make Tiffany Nieves the champ. I mean, Brian, she's champ right now. We haven't seen it on TV yet, but she's currently the Exodus Pro Women's Champion. She's also, and I believe that title has a connection to Mission Pro as well. She is also the NWA Women's Television Champion. And little birdie told me that she's also the NWA Tag Team Champion. So yeah, I mean, they're definitely putting some stock in Tiffany Nieves. She is a phenomenal talent. I can't wait to see what's next for her. Obviously, the brand is growing, and I don't know how much longer we're going to have Kenzie Page to kick around. So I think Tiffany Nieves is ultimately being groomed for that spot. But I mean, there's also Natalia Markova. And, I was very impressed by Tiffany Nieves' tag team partner too. Valentina Rossi. They're known as TVMA, and they look really good as a tag team too. So, Tiffany Nieves is kind of become a Swiss Army knife for the NWA that you could really put her anywhere. Let's see. Going back to this week's NWA Power, of course, we mentioned Crazy Steve and Damien Fenrir. This, to me, was like the first match that we've seen have a build for Crockett Cup. Now, obviously, Crockett Cup has already happened. It already took place, but in the world of the NWA, everything's about 3 months behind. I mean, it is now June 3rd. These matches were taped March 22nd, and we're finally seeing one match that build for for Crockett Cup from Hard Times. And that is, it's the Fierce Tag Team. 4 of the fiercest tag teams in the NWA collide in a no-holds-barred, all-out war for the coveted number 2 seed in the legendary 2025 Crockett Cup. That features the Immortals, Odinson and Kratos, Talos and Daisy Kill. Talos just making his debut in All Japan Pro Wrestling this week. We also have the Colognes and Blunt. Blunt, Force Trauma. I don't know why I did that. And honestly, I mean, I know who wins this match, but I can't wait to see it because this match had such huge implications for the Crockett Cup. And there's a lot of beef in the ring. You've got one of the better tag teams for Puerto Rico. You got former 2-time U.S. tag team champions in the Immortals. You've got, I believe, Daisy Kill and Talos has held those U.S. tag titles more than once. And you got former world tag team champions of Blunt Force Trauma. I mean, you can say what you want about a lot of things about the NWA, but that tag team division is fairly solid. It's fairly solid. And I'm, for one, again, I'm super excited about this match. I know it was already pre-recorded. I know that this is dated material, but it will help make the Crockett Cup make sense for those of us who were there live in attendance. Sorry, catching my breath here. This is hour number 2, and there's still one more hour later tonight, guys. We will be talking to United Wrestling Network Women's Champion and currently on television NWA Tag Team Champion, Big Mama. And that's in about half an hour. We'll be talking to Big Mama right here on YouTube. So make sure you come back for that. I did not mean to leave that up for so long. Going back to the comments section. Willie, we did do your Tyrus joke 100%. Let's see. Getting back to more of the conversation. Scott D'Amore should bring in Mims for Maple Leaf Pro Wrestling. I think Scott D'Amore has his own kind of agenda, and I think he's looking at talents more based in the Canadian area. I think the exception to that rule is Tom Latimer and the 10 pounds of gold because of the respect. The original Maple Leaf Pro Wrestling was part of the NWA, and they did feature the 10 pounds of gold. I maybe at that point it was the World's Heavyweight Championship, but they did feature the NWA title regularly. Why can't I talk? Regularly. That didn't sound right either. All the time they featured that title in the Maple Leaf Wrestling. So I would like to see that too. Mims is obviously somebody that the NWA has had a lot of faith in over the years, but there's more. There are guys on the roster, on the NWA Power roster right now that I think I would much rather see on Power before Mims. And that's not to insult Mims, but I look at a tag team like Murdoch and Knox, Team Murnox, the NWA World Tag Team Champions. I would love to see them, wrestle Gallows and Anderson for Maple Leaf Pro Wrestling. I think that would be a lot of fun. I also feel like for whatever reason, I think the Southern Six would do really good in Maple Leaf Pro. But, hey, that's me. If Alliance Golden's here, he could give me his 2 cents on it. I'd love to hear it. Double D says Mims versus Wrecking Ball is a banger, and it's about to happen. Yeah, I think it's going to be a lot of fun, too. Let's see. Roswell said, look up the match Crazy Stephen Plunkett had at Joe Kazana Promotions. That was a nice one. I honestly need to watch more Joe Kazana Promotions. Every time I've watched it, I've enjoyed it. I just haven't had a chance to watch it in a minute. So, yeah, 100%. I would love to check that out. Doty says Kratos and Odinson also have All Japan experience. The potential for a All Japan NWA relationship is there. Come on, Billy. Do we need to shout Brian Idol to about All Japan Pro Wrestling? Brian Idol is the needle mover for the NWA in that he manages to get these relationships with these promotions. I mean, look, the NWA territory system is growing. We've got promotions in Texas, Tennessee, and Ohio, and Missouri, and seemingly Florida, I guess. At the very least, it's an associate to the NWA, as well as New Mexico. So the territory system is growing. We do know that the NWA has had matches in Puerto Rico with the World Wrestling Council. We know that they've had matches in Japan with All Japan Pro Wrestling, EC3 taking the 10 pounds of gold there. If we could get more of an All Japan NWA relationship, I'm not going to say no to it. I don't know if that fits Billy's vision, but I think that would be a great move. The problem is that the NWA is not what it was. I can't ask All Japan to join an NWA membership. The ratios aren't exactly the same. If anything, maybe the NWA should join an All Japan Pro Wrestling relationship, With that being said, the two promotions working together could be very interesting and very fun. I'm not holding my breath for anything. Double D says, Big Mama, holy yes. Yeah, we're going Big Mama. We're going to be doing that right here on YouTube. I can't wait to do that. Steve G, you just remember, Steve, we're always online on demand at youtube.com/The Alliance Blog. Double D says, I'm in the Canadian-based area. D'Amore should bring me in. There it is. Steve G says, we want Ruby versus Mama for UWN Championship. J-Cal, make it happen. Look, Steve G, I will say this, that I have been efforting to get Rays into the United Wrestling Network. I've called. I've left voicemails. I've sent smoke signals. Messages have been placed into bottles. They're in Levity Live, which is in Oxnard, literally within 10 to 15 minutes of where Ray's lives. I would love for Ray's to show up. I just don't think it's going to happen yet. Let's see. Double D says, me and the wife just started Heels over the weekend, binged the first 4 episodes. Holy crap, the show's great. That's good to hear. I haven't watched it yet. Again, I have so many things on the list to watch. Joe Cazzetta Promotions, Heels, Exodus Pro. I still have paid for Maple Leaf Pro Wrestling events I need to watch. Matt says more of y'all should be in the Alliance Discord. Absolutely. Double D says, isn't Talos in All Japan right now? Yes, sir, he is. Bobby Batito says, I enjoyed watching Alex Gracia. Yeah, she's been good for the United Wrestling Network. I'm not sure where she'll be next. But, yeah, we've been talking for 2 hours about pro wrestling here on TikTok and on YouTube. And I got to tell you guys, my heart's feeling pretty good right now. I appreciate you guys all hanging out with me to talk NWA, talk pro wrestling, and it's a lot of fun. I'm glad that you have decided to make Tuesdays a part of the pre-party, part of your Tuesdays wrestling viewing habits. I do know that tonight in Oxnard, United Wrestling Network will be filming live at the Levity Live in Oxnard. If you're within a stone's throw, get there. You don't want to miss it. You know, our world's heavyweight champion, the United Wrestling Network world champion, Danny Limelight, will have a special open challenge. I can't wait to see what that is. I won't be there. That's a 3-hour drive for your boy Jay, and it's just not going to happen tonight or any night. No sirree, Bob. Port Hueneme in the Ocean View Pavilion was about as far as I was willing to go for the United Wrestling Network driving anyways, and that was a 2.5-hour drive for me. One I won't be making tonight, so we'll see what happens next. Bobby Petito says the NWA should bring her in to go against Tiffany Nieves or Kenzie Page. Yeah, the thing about Alex Gracia is she's a free agent. You know, she freelances with the United Wrestling Network. No one's really under contract with the United Wrestling Network, so I don't think there are no limitations to who can for Alex Gracia to come to the NWA. Dodie says Talos for future 10 pounds of gold holder. Interesting. So does Kratos. So does Odinson, because both played for All Japan Pro Wrestling. Hey, man, I don't hate. Look, the thing about Kratos is he's getting better each time I see him. The first time I saw him was not in an NWA ring, but rather in a United Wrestling Network ring. He was part of the entourage that was the Prince Nana's group. What is, I forgot what they called him. I guess like the Crown Jewel. I don't know what, the Embassy. The United Wrestling Network Embassy had Talos, Jordan Clearwater, and there was another guy whose name I can't think of right now. And that's the first time I saw Talos. He had a match against Willie Mack. He looked okay. I felt like he was very green. His time in the NWA, he's grown as a competitor. Now he's in Japan wrestling for All Japan Pro Wrestling. I'm not saying that's the end-all be-all, but that's a great look for him, and I hope it continues to allow him to grow. I mean, there are several titles in the NWA that man can challenge for, the least of which is the 10 pounds of gold. But, the TV title's right there for the taking. The national title's right there for the taking. If you're going to invest in Jack Talos, clearly he needs to be built up to challenge for the world title, but I don't think his relationship with Daisy Kills is going to be a thing going on much longer. We'll have to just wait and see. And Bobby says, yeah, Chad Gable would be great for the 10 pounds of gold. A lot of people used to think that Kurt Angle was a former NWA world champion, and that was something that just didn't happen. Although he held the title, he held the championship belt, but the title was always TNA world title for Kurt Angle, never NWA World's Heavyweight Champion. So that's going to do it for us this week, guys. Again, what a fun day. What a fun time talking to you guys. It's always a pleasure, my pleasure, to hang out with you on Tuesdays. Of course, if you want to help support the show financially, we do have merchandise available where you can get unique and different t-shirts. Pretty soon, we're going to reset the entire merchandise store. We're going to get rid of some of your old favorites, some of the classics, and bring out some new t-shirts for you guys to check out. And hopefully, if you like them, you can buy them. Also, if you want to help support the channel, just by liking, commenting, subscribing, all of these things help us grow the channel. Leaving a comment afterwards also helps with the algorithm, gets us seen by more people. So if you want to help us grow, please like, follow, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. And lastly, we will be back on Thursday, the Alliance Guys podcast. That'll be Jaden, DKM, the Professor Rick Del Santo, and myself as we discuss power and all things NWA on Thursday. I hope you will join us for that. And later this afternoon, in about 30 minutes, we'll be talking to Big Mama right here, youtube.com/The Alliance Blog. You don't want to miss it. And until next time, we'll see you at the matches. Thanks for joining the stream. This has been a presentation of Alliance-Wrestling.com. We genuinely appreciate your support. Would you consider subscribing so you'll never miss a future episode? I'd also like to remind you we do a live stream every Tuesday at 5 p.m. for NWA Power. You can find us on social media at The Alliance Blog. And until next time, we are The Alliance.